Welcome to another episode of Bet On It with Sam B and the Pigeon. Little update for you. Through 3 weeks of the NFL season, just 2 weeks of betting on this show. If you would have bet $100 on everything the Pigeon would have said, you would have won 11 out of 13 bets. That's the same amount of rings and years that Bill Russell played with. Coincidence? I think not. But anyway, you'd be up $1,080. That's $1,080 you'd be up on just a couple $100 bets. So maybe you'll learn, maybe you won't. Here we go. Pigeon, how are you? Let's get right into your first line of the week.
Nice to be back, Sam B. All right, we'll get right into it. First bet we got the Bears laying 3 points at home against the Tampa Bay Bucks. With this handicap, I watched that whole Monday night game with Tampa Bay, and although Fitzpatrick did look like Fitzmagic in the second half, that first half, his offensive line did not look good, and he was just turning the ball over left and right because of that pass rush of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And personally, I don't think that Pittsburgh Steelers defense is nearly as good as the Bears pass rush. So I think that's a mismatch in favor of the Bears. I'm hoping, I'm not confident, but I'm hoping Mitch Trubisky plays better in his second start at Soldier Field, and they can kind of build on this momentum they've gotten the last 2 games. But I think one less day of prep for Tampa Bay, plus that mismatch with that pass rush versus their offensive line, I think makes the Bears a slightly better team. So that 3 points, I'm in favor of laying with the Bears. Bears -3.
I like that Chicago pride. I like that optimism. Let's go into the second one. What do you got?
Second one, we got the Cincinnati Bengals getting 5 points at the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this just seems like an overreaction to the Bengals' loss last week against the Carolina Panthers. The Bengals at the Panthers were only 3-point underdogs over there, and I don't think there's a big difference between Carolina and Atlanta in terms of talent. So you adding an extra 2 points just doesn't make sense to me. The Atlanta Falcons are missing, I believe, 4 starters now for the season. I think 3 defensive starters in the secondary they're missing, plus an offensive lineman. I think that makes them very vulnerable on defense. As we saw last week, New Orleans lit them up and they lost. And I think Cincinnati, it was kind of I had Carolina beating them last week on the podcast, but Andy Dalton threw 4 interceptions and they still were within 1 possession. So I think Andy Dalton has a bounce back game, has a better game, and I just think they're able to outscore Atlanta. So I'll take the 5 points.
Love it. Let's go. What's the next one?
Next up, we got the Detroit Lions getting 3 points at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to continue to fade the Dallas Cowboys until these lines start making more sense. They can't throw the ball. I still have zero faith in Dak Prescott. They got shut down last week at Seattle. I faded them and won with that. And I think that Detroit's the better team. They're better on offense. I'd say they're pretty even on defense.
Uh-oh. Where did the Pigeon go?
That secondary needs to play about below average for Dak to get going, and I think they're an average secondary. So I think they shut down the passing game there. The Bucs shut down Zeke, and I'm happy to get 3 points with the better team, in my opinion.
I love that pick. I love it. All right, let's get through these last 2. All right, we got all right, what do we got?
We got Indianapolis as a pick'em at home against the Houston Texans. Houston looked horrible last week, and that was my one loss from last week. I had Houston laying 6 against the Giants. It was a big mistake. Their pass rush looked kind of abysmal. And their offense, Deshaun Watson, does not look the same as he did last year. He was throwing balls into the turf and really seemed to be fazed by that pass rush of the Giants. His offensive line does not play well. And if you look really quickly at Indianapolis, they played 3 really good games. They were within 1 possession and winning against the Cincinnati Bengals first game. Second game, they go to Washington and blow them out. Third game, they're at the Eagles and are within another 1 possession, within 1 minute of scoring and winning the game. So I think I got the better team here, and I'm getting a pick-em at home. I'll take Indianapolis. Pick-em.
Again, great logic. I always like the logic. All right, what's the last one of the week?
This is probably my favorite pick of the week, actually. We got Oakland Raiders, the winless Oakland Raiders, laying 2.5 or 3 points, depending on where you look, at home against the Cleveland Browns. Let me throw this stat at you real quick. The number 1 overall pick, the last 10 of them that were quarterback and started in their first career start are 0-10. They've never won a game. The last 10 first overall picks that were quarterback in their first start are winless. And just a quick quote from Jamal Adams last week, the safety for the Jets. He said, even in the post-game press conference, we were not prepared to play against Baker Mayfield. They had scouted and prepped for Tyrod Taylor, so when Baker Mayfield came in, it kind of changed their whole game plan around, and they had to play on the fly. I think Oakland's going to come prepared for this, and they're desperate to get a win for their coach, and they're desperate to save their season here at home. And they've been competitive in all their games. They've been close in all their games, so I think that just the situation alone here makes Oakland the better team. I don't know if they're better on the roster top to bottom, but the situation makes them the better team. So I'll take them laying 2.5 or 3 points.
There you go. Maybe they can get one for Gruden. All right, and the Pigeons teaser this week, guys. It's a classic 6-point teaser. Philly +2, Jaguars -1.5, and the Patriots -0.5 a point for your classic 6-point teaser. Last week's teaser hit right on the money, and you should bet everything Pigeon says. Okay, so that's it for the bets this week. I got a couple prop bets for you, Pidge, and here they are. The AFC North is proving to be quite a shit show. So I got odds for which team can come out of the AFC North on top and win that division, and here are the odds. I want to know where you think the best money is right now. Ravens +220, Cincy +260, Cleveland +900, and the Steelers +140. What sticks out to you there?
Man, if I wish I was able to make this call after this week, because the Ravens are at the Steelers, and I think that's going to be a huge game to determine the division winner. But I'm gonna have to say the Ravens, even though they had that kind of bad loss on Thursday night to Cincy. I think they have the best defense in this division, and I think they have a pretty good offense that can compete with, especially Cincinnati. And so I think that having the best defense division is a big deal when you have defenses like Steelers who give up 30 points almost all the time. So I think that good defense is going to help carry them to the playoffs. So I'd say the best money, the best bang for your buck here is on the Ravens.
All right, there you have it. +220, Baltimore. And you're sure to get worse odds if they beat the Steelers tonight, so jump on it now. All right, here's a couple more. We're going to switch to the NBA to end this, all right, Pidge?
No problem.
Bulls, Chicago Bulls, over/under 30 games this season. They win more or less than 30 games. I know Lauri Markkanen just got hurt, but I think that might have swayed it down a little.
Yeah, so I'd like to know if that line has reacted to that injury news. So that kind of came out, and I have a friend of mine actually who was always talking to me about over/under NBA wins, and he was always talking about how he was thinking the Bulls were going to go over, but that's a really young lineup, and I think if they're missing Markkanen, I can't imagine them winning too many games. But the East is also very weak. So I would say 82 games, win 30 of them. I'm going to say the over, actually. I think they have enough talent to win over 30 games in the Eastern Conference.
As the homer I am, I would have just cut you off right there if you didn't say over on 30 games. We're making the playoffs this year, baby. All right, so a little tougher one to consider. The Oklahoma City Thunder, over/under 49.5 wins. What does your gut tell you?
49.5. I'm going to say over in the Western Conference. I think they're going to improve. I think that chemistry. I think there's addition by subtraction here by getting rid of Melo. I think they're actually going to get better by getting rid of Melo. I think that chemistry between Russell Westbrook and Paul George is going to get better. I think Steven Adams is really solid. And I just think I think that chemistry is going to be a big part of them learning to distribute the ball and kind of play off of each other. I think they're going to be better this year. So I'll go over.
All right, sounds good. Well, once again, thank you, Pigeon. Your Thursday night bet hit last night as well. Stay tuned for Basketball Twitter to get some more next Thursday's lines, and we'll talk about MVP bets for the NBA next week. Thank you very much, Pigeon.
Thank you. Have a good one.